Hello and welcome to this news and analysis cast of the My Kitab podcast. My name is Amar Vyas and I'm the co-founder of Kamakshi Media and I'm an author and your host on this particular show. Today is today is Thursday, the 14th of July 2016. Every Thursday we have the news and analysis cast in which we talk about major news stories and related to book publishing in India and some analysis of what's happening in terms of book trends, sales, pricing, some industry events, for example, and then also we talk about the startups in the book publishing space. And last few weeks we've had some very interesting stories, and in fact one of our stories today is about a seed round investment, $1 million plus investment in one of the content providing startups. But before that, I had a few announcements to make. First of all, Publishing Next, the conference on which discusses the future of publishing, that event is going to be held in Kochi this year. Typically, it's held in Goa. And between 15th and 17th of September is when Publishing Next would be held. And I'm very proud to announce that My Kitab podcast is the podcasting partner for this event. And in the coming few days, we will hear more about this. And I will try and see if we can get some of the principal organizers and then maybe also some of the guests to talk about this event so that the listeners can understand more about what Publishing Next is all about and what it achieves to do and what's in store for this year's edition of Publishing Next event. Now, speaking about the stories, the news stories that we have today, I had another announcement to make, and that was that on the MyKitab website, and that's www.mykitab.in/news. This will be the new home for all the news and analysis casts for My Kitab podcast. And the reason for that being is that the newscasts have their own numbering and then the My Kitab podcast episodes have their own numbering. What it was causing was that with two different sets of numbers, it was just leading to some confusion. And based on feedback from some of the listeners, we decided to separate the podcast interviews and then the newscasts. And of course, podcasts interviews have a longer shelf life in terms of the content, in terms of some of the strategies and the insights provided by the guests. Whereas newscast, the news is much more time bound in a way. And so that's why I thought that all the newscasts will be now available on mykitab.in/news, whereas all the other interviews will be available on, and the guest interviews will be available on mykitab.in/podcasts. So this is how we're going to move the two parts of the My Kitab podcast now going forward. And also on the news page, and that's mykitab.in/news, we have some fascinating stories on, we have actually gone ahead and included the RSS feeds for the news services. And we also have the bestseller list now included as the RSS list in the RSS feed on that particular page. What it means is that now some of the news related to book publishing in India and then also some book pricing, the book best-selling trends, etc., they will be easily accessible, not just for me, but of course for all of you. You need not have to look around for multiple places for news related to book publishing in India. Hope that you would find this feature useful. Of course, again, your feedback, it will be very helpful. This is likely still a work in progress because we are updating the website right now. Again, the website is mykitab.in, and that's mykitab.in/news. Now, speaking of news related to book publishing that we have in today's show, first news is kind of disappointing. Water leakage damages new books in National Library in the city of Kolkata. Our second news is about Amazon's Kindle Oasis, which was launched recently and last week, and it is priced at about 24,000 rupees or $350. The Wi-Fi plus 3G edition is available at 27,000 rupees, 28,000 rupees, which is close to $400. And I'll talk a little bit about that. We talk about the market for graphic novels in India. What is the market all about? Who are some of the players? And finally, we talk about $1.35 million investment, and that's nearly 9 crore rupees investment in a site called ShareChat, which is actually a networking platform in regional languages of India. So, and I'll also talk about in the context of books why I decided to include this in this week's edition. Let's talk about the damage caused to the books in the National Library in the city of Calcutta. So I had spoken about it in one of the previous episodes that as per the Indian law, for the ISBN, the agency requires you to submit a copy of your new book or a periodical to the National Library or one of the libraries, central libraries in India, where they store it, and that's for archiving, record keeping, etc. So while the employees of this library were cataloging it, some of the books in the Indian regional languages, Assamese in particular, were being cataloged and they were kept on the floor. So they come back on a Monday morning and find that the floor is flooded because the air conditioning plant was leaking, and a lot of books got damaged in the process. This news, surprisingly enough, did not get much coverage. One of the numbers I read on one of the sites was that about 60,000 books, periodicals, journals, etc. were damaged in the process, which is like a ridiculously high number, and it's a shameful loss. And then, of course, as always, the library officials began to blame the Public Works Department, which is another government department, which does all the facilities, maintenance work and repair work. In this blame game, it's the books which are at a loss. The news article that I would be including, the link would be from The Hindu, and it's dated the 14th of July 2016. So in fact, from today itself. I think it's a shameful loss. It's like really pathetic, and just makes me wonder that in the day and age today where we are moving everything digital, why is the government still requiring a print copy? And then of course the answer for that would be that print still accounts for about 98% of all the books which are published in India. So that's the news. Coming to the second news that we have, and that is about Amazon's Kindle Oasis. The Wi-Fi only version is at 24,000 rupees, or that's nearly $350, whereas the Wi-Fi plus 3G option is at 28,000 rupees or $400. It's way too expensive. I'm not sure if Amazon has, they obviously knew what they were doing, but I think they have outpriced themselves in the market. At 24,000 rupees, you can actually go ahead and get a very good quality smartphone. In fact, the phone that I'm recording this video on, and those of you who are listening, I would suggest that you actually go ahead and check out the video on YouTube. I'll add the link to that. The video quality is fantastic, and it's a 7,000 rupee phone that I'm making this video recording on, and 7,000 rupees is like $100, right? This is the quality of hardware that we are talking about these days, and of course, majority of the operating systems are Android based in India for the phones. So my point was that at 25,000 rupees or in that range, you get a fantastic high-end phone which can perform many more functions than just helping you read a book. Again, why would anybody invest so much? Is Amazon trying to sell this as a premium only model? Are they trying to sell it as a limited edition model? Time will tell, but and again, I'm trying to get somebody from the Kindle team on as a guest for one of the future episodes for My Kitab, and we will talk more about that at that point in time. The article I'm referring to is from the mobileindian.com, and this article is dated July 11th, 2016. As always, the links for all the news articles would be included in the show notes.